Hi, my name is Kristen and this is Kristen Craves Books. I am coming to you with a collab today. This is a fun one because it's with all of my girls from the Black Hat Book Coven. Obviously that is a witchy book club, and we thought it would be fun because I think every year typically Becky puts together a collab with a lot of people to recommend our favorite witchy books. I think we did that last year, but you only have so many. I haven't read enough this year to do a whole video for that, so we thought it would be fun to talk about books that are on our TBR that feature witches, and I'm sure we all have many of those. I was going through my Goodreads and there are a ton that are on my radar and that I might put forward for the book club in the future, so check out that book club if you want to get involved. We do a sprint every month and then a live show discussion about the book at the end of the month, and it's really fun. We get into some antics. It kind of gets chaotic by the end of the discussion, but that's part of why I love doing the book club with those ladies so much. So join us. I think this month, I forgot the book is called. It's one that we have a guest host this month, and that's April from Happily Ever April, and she picked the book. I know that it features a punk YouTuber, which is interesting, and actually I'm supposed to start that book today because as of filming, of course I'm filming this the day before I'm posting it, we have sprints for the book club and we are starting the book, so I have to get on that. I have to download that book. I'm sure I have a photo of it sitting up here, and I will leave a link to the Goodreads for that book down below. And the books that I'm going to talk about today are just the ones that I own physical copies of. I have audiobook copies of, like on Libro, a lot of the ALCs that Libro sends. Definitely have witchy books from them, so I love that. Things that I have on Kindle, a couple that I got on those free Kindle days, and some that I have downloaded from KU. So while I have millions, like at least thousands of witchy books on my radar, these are the ones that I have access to and will probably get to the quickest. But if you have any recommendations, let me know what your favorite witchy book is. I'd love to hear about it, and let me know which ones of these I should prioritize. Hopefully there's a few new books to you because there are some random ones on here that I just like the covers of, or they were free Kindle days and they had some good reviews. So let's do the physical ones first. One easy way to win me over is to mention Hocus Pocus on your title, on the cover somewhere, and I will probably want to read it. So this one is Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson. This says it's just a bunch of hocus pocus, and while these contemporary witchy romances can be really hit or miss for a lot of people, and for me, not all of them are absolute wins. I tend to go into them just expecting them to be really fun. I don't think about it too much. I suspend my disbelief. I'm just along for the ride, hopefully a few laughs. So that's what I expect from something like this. I love the punny title. This is not the only book on my list that I own that uses hex as a pun for something else, and I kind of think that's funny and genius. Even on the back it says things are about to get hexy, which is just hilarious. And actually this follows a woman who lives in an old house in a coven with a bunch of other witches of various ages, so that's something different. I haven't really read anything like that. So people from like the 1700s and then more modern day witches as well. And then a landlord comes in and realizes that some of his tenants haven't been paying rent since the 1700s, and I think they have a romance. I'm wondering if this is like Grumpy Sunshine at all, but either way it does sound really cute. So I have had this for a minute and I completely forgot about it until I went to film this video, so that was a good reminder that this might be a good one to just read in an afternoon or two and to bring me some joy. We might as well just talk about the other book that has hex in the title. This one is Best Hex Ever, and this is a new one. This one just came out. It's by Nadia Al-Fassi, and I've talked about this one a couple times because it was on my most anticipated books of the month list, and it just sounds like something I will love. And it is another one of those contemporary witchy romances, and I've heard this one is pretty spicy. And if you've been around the channel for a minute, you know that I love foodie romances. I have for years. If there's food in any kind of book, I will eat it up, but if one of the people in the relationship is a baker or a chef or something, I don't know why, that always appeals to me. And in this case she is a baker and obviously has a bit of a magical touch to it. She owns a cafe. This man walks in, he becomes obsessed with this cafe and everything that she does. The two of them end up at the same wedding and they have like a really romantic weekend together. And it says, during a romantic weekend filled with a hedge maze, palm reading by candlelight, and a midnight Halloween ritual, there's no denying the chemistry between them. But she also has a hex. That is a very common trope in these witchy books, probably stemming from practical magic or something that I'm not familiar with even before that, where if the witch gets into a relationship, there's some kind of curse, they can't fall in love. But it always seems to work for me. If they do something a little bit different with it, I'm okay with it. And the fact that this one kind of centers around Halloween as well might be a good one to read while I am giving out Halloween candy, because we do get around 100 trick-or-treaters every year, and I'm just sitting there waiting for them to come around, so this might be a good one to read then. Leaning more into the cozy side of the witchy books that I love, this one is The Herb Witch's Apprentice. It's by Irene Chow, and it says, in the kingdom of Olderia, dabbling in witchcraft is a sure way to get the guillotine. And I just love this cover, such like Disney vibes, sort of. Our main character in this book discovers that she's half witch and she wants to get rid of her power. She thinks it's gonna be nothing but trouble. It's like the debutante season and she doesn't want to have some kind of accident because of the powers that she possesses. But then the queen is really sick and she works together with the prince, who I'm sure they have a romance, to figure out what's happening, and innocent witches are getting involved and thrown under their bus. So I think it's gonna be really cute. It's a bit on the longer side, and I think that this is self-published, I believe, and there might be a sequel or two, but there's some great illustrations as well, so you just know the vibes of this are going to be delightful. Okay, this one's definitely a cover buy. I've been hit or miss with Bramble, that is Tor's new romantasy imprint, but they do make pretty books, don't they? I saw this, it was on sale, I had to grab it. It's called The Coven by Harper L. Woods. It says, death is not your end. Look at these end pages though. I'm just going to read you the first paragraph of the synopsis because I think it gives you the vibes. It says, revenge. Raised to be my father's weapon against the coven that took away his sister and his birthright, I would do anything to protect my younger brother from suffering the same fate. My duty forces me to the secret town of Crystal Hollow and the prestigious Hollows Groves University, where the best and brightest of my kind learn to practice their magic free from human judgment. There are no whispered words here, no condemnation for the blood that flows through my veins. The only animosity I face comes from the beautiful and infuriating headmaster, Alark Grayson Thorne, a man who despises me just as much as I loathe him and everything he stands for. So I haven't heard too much about this one. If you've read it or you've seen people review it, let me know what people are thinking about it, but I fell for it. I'm trying to be better about not buying special editions. I'm not subscribed to any subscription boxes anymore, but once in a while a book slips through. What can I say? The last one I own physically is one I've talked about a few times. It's on the bigger side and it's more historical. I have to be more in the mood for it, but I do think I'm gonna love this one. I've owned it for years and years. It's been recommended to me many times. I think even when I just had a blog before I had this channel, so I really need to just read it. It's called A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers, and I think this author writes a few witchy books, and I think this is going to be more romantic than you might expect from the vibes of the cover. It says some love affairs last lifetimes. So it's set in 1895, 1932, 1970, and 2012, and we're following one woman who is a witch and she's like bound to a lover throughout the centuries, and I kind of like the idea of stories like that, and I've just heard excellent things. So when the mood strikes, this feels like a winter by the fire kind of book. I don't have a fireplace, but let's just pretend that I do. It just has that vibes. You curl up with a blanket and a hot cup of coffee or tea and dive into this one. I just have to embrace doing that more, so good one for that, remind me. The next one is one that was put onto my radar because of Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. She is a judge for Spiffbo, and this was one of the books that was put forward for her to read. And when it came up, I was like, oh, she's not gonna like that. That doesn't seem like her vibe at all. She absolutely loved it, and that made me want to read it because as she was talking about it, it felt like a Kristen book. So it's on KU, so I have it downloaded and ready to go, and it's called The Last Lunar Witch by S.F. Heen. And the synopsis, it says, I only wanted to control my magic, but a single potion catapulted my life into chaos. I'm Nysa Thornheart, a witch with broken magic. I love when a witch has magic that they can control or is broken in some way. That always leads to interesting scenarios. That's one of my favorite things. I escaped to the big city to pursue my passion for alchemy and hide from my coven until I fix my powers. If my unstable gifts are exposed, they will be stripped away. To live without magic, that's a fate worse than death. So drink a long forgotten potion in a desperate bid to harness my volatile powers. So many buzzwords for me. The fact that Cassidy really liked this one and it was put forth for her from her judging panel in the first place tells me I'm gonna like it. It has a 4.34 on Goodreads right now. I mean, not very many reviews. It only has 58 reviews, but sounds amazing. It's nice to find some of these more underrated books that I have access to on KU, so if you do have KU, check that one out. I've talked about Kim M. Watt quite a bit. Like, I used to talk about her a lot last year or 2 years ago because she has a series of cozy fantasy that I really, really like, and she's a new book coming out. It's co-written. It's called One Smart Witch by Amelia Ash and Kim M. Watt, so it's co-written. Love the cover. This is actually book 2 in a cozy mystery series, but you know how these things work. You don't have to read them in order, though maybe I should see if I can get the first one. It's called The Witch Slap instead of Bitch Slap. I love that. That's hilarious. So maybe I should see if I can get access to that one first. A talking cat accused of murder, a magical carnival with sinister secrets, a sleuth who's running out of time. A talking cat, could you get more me? A carnival, I love the idea of carnivals in books, but I've yet to read one that I actually like. But if it's cozy fantasy, cozy mystery, it'll be a fun time, and I already love what Kim M. Watt does. So yeah, that's on my Kindle. Another one I need to get to. This month is really slipping me by, okay? I have so many Halloween themed books that I want to read that I just haven't had a chance to get to, and this is like on top of that list because there are pumpkins on the cover, and it's called A Dark and Secret Magic, and this is by Wallace Kinney, and the cover is just too Halloween-y and too perfect. And it says, a warm, spellbinding tale about a witch and the secrets her coven has been keeping from her, with echoes of the classic Hades and Persephone story in the tradition of practical magic and Witch of the Wild Things. So the Hades and Persephone's twist is interesting to me. And yeah, let's just be honest, it's the cover that grabbed my eye for this one, and I do have an audiobook, so a lot of the ones that I have right now are on ebook or my physical copy, so it's good to have a few audiobooks available. Spelling the Tea by Erin Johnson is one that I've seen around quite a bit, and I kind of love the cover for how cheesy it is. It just looks like a good time. It's under 200 pages, so that is perfect. And it's the first book in the Vampire Tea Room Magical Mystery Series, so we're getting some witches and vampires in here. Welcome to the coziest vampire-owned tea room in Bath. It's steeped in magic and mystery. So it's set in Bath in England, which makes a lot of sense. You're supposed to support your guy, right? Even if it means moving away from the watery source of your witchy magic and suffering through 5 years of writer's block. Interesting. So this is the first book in this series, and it looks like there are 9 other books, but I think these are on KU. I think that's where I have this one. So yeah, we'll see if I get to all 10, but I would like to read the first one at least. Remember what I said earlier in the video about loving foodie books? This one looks perfect. It's called Butter Sugar Magic, and this is by Jessica Rosenberg, and I actually have this on ALC from Libro FM, so that's exciting. And it's the first book in the Baking Up a Magical Midlife series. And there are 4 books in that. They all have the similar titles: Bread, Coffee Magic, Bittersweet Magic, Sweet and Sour Spells. Very cute. And embracing a midlife transformation has never been more delicious. At best, she's expecting a kitschy candy dish, at worst, a beloved taxidermied pet. So when Cassie, newly divorced single mom with 0 prospects, discovers she's inheriting a fully stocked bakery along with a beautifully furnished apartment from a great aunt she's never even heard of, she's convinced she must be dreaming. So it must all stem from there. Always about inheritances in witchy books as well, but the fact that it's her bakery, very, very excited for that one. And again, I have the audiobook, so that's a good thing. And finally, one that I grabbed on Stuff Your Kindle Day is called The First Witch Mage, and this is by Isabel Campbell and Michael Adderley, and this is the first book in the Chronicles of the Witchborn. Let's see how many of those there are. 8 of them. A lot of these Kindle books are long series, and the last thing I need to do is start new series, but these all just appeal to me. There's something about these covers that I love. And there's a cat. There's always a cat, right? If there's a cat, you know this. I feel like I've said this in every video because we're in October and we're reading witchy books, but if there's a cat, it'll be on my radar. Those who cross the Blackwood soon learn that they won't like the results. Theodora Catherine Blackwood's life is just the way she wants it. Thea focuses on what she wants to do, when she wants to study, and the local Coven hierarchy leaves her the hell alone. It took years for her to accomplish that much freedom, and now that she is about to graduate college, the local Coven leader has given her what she wants most, the opportunity to be freed from the shackles of Coven politics for the rest of her life. So I feel like a lot of these books, which, you know what, I read a lot of witchy books, but not a lot of them actually revolve around covens. So the fact that so many of the ones that are on my radar right now have covens in them makes me that much more excited, because I love the relationships that would happen in something like that, and some of the politics and the dramas that can come with that, and all the different personalities. So that makes me excited. So those are all the books that I currently have access to. Not all the books on my want to read shelf, that is for sure, that are witchy. So let me know which ones I should prioritize, ones that I definitely need to download right away. If you have some that are on KU, I would absolutely love that, because I've been loving my Kindle lately. And just let me know what your favorite witchy book is. And as always, thank you for your support. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye for now.